Come on, TATS Nation. It's Theology in the Streets podcast, extended thought. We back at it again one more time for you. Listen, when no topic goes untouched, I am Luis Diaz, a.k.a. Late to the Game, and I got with me at my far right.
You got your boy, Don Dada, extended thought, breaking all barriers. You know how we do.
I got on my left here.
It's Dave in the Cut Jones.
Dave in the Cut Jones, mumble rapper. Oh, my bad.
We got the mumble rapper, Dave in the Cut Jones.
We got producer.
Kurt Classic, baby.
All right, listen, we going to follow up on our last episode here. Listen, we drop every Wednesday and Friday. Our extended thought is on Friday when we drop. So make sure you jump on it. You can catch us up on YouTube at Theology in the Streets. Check us on Anchor.fm, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. And if you want to check our socials, Facebook at TATS Podcast, Instagram and Twitter, TATS_podcast. That's where we at. Follow us.
Yeah.
So we our last episode was on the N word, the Nigger and the Nigga, and we kind of touched on a topic that dealt with the image of black people, and the successful versus those in the hood, right? And
the ghetto mentality.
That ghetto mentality. So we want to jump on it. Kurt, lead us on this, man, because you want to exacerbate. Oh, my bad.
The disparities.
You want to talk more on this. You got some.
Where's disparity?
Go ahead,
Disparity's not here, right? Disparity's
not here. He's not here. He's not here.
Y'all wrong.
Okay. Disparity's not here. Nothing offends this guy. Oh yeah, nothing. Just nothing. The only thing that offends him that he can't make no beats and he can't rap. So that's. I didn't want to say that in front of him, but that's what it was.
Wow. All right. So basically, man, it's always kind of bothered me, and I share this with you guys often, in our talks. Just the culture that has been. It seems like inner city black people have adopted, right? It seems like inner city black people have adopted this culture, and today we call it hip hop, right? We call it hip hop culture, or some may even call it pop culture, because you're starting to see
crossed over now
that it's not just inner city black people, but inner city kids, period, right? But inner city black is the pioneer culture, if you will, of what we call pop culture, but we know that what we're really saying is the hip hop culture. Yeah. Right. Would I be correct in that? Would y'all say that's a fair assessment?
Yeah,
I would say yeah. I would say
so now when you look at the history though behind black tradition in America post-slavery, to me there's a difference. There's a difference in attitude, creativity, drive, motivation, things that actually mattered to black people seemed very much different, even in the inner city, because we've always had a poor class, if you will. That's any people group. There's always been a poor class, but it just seems like there's a difference in just black culture now, period, because it's starting to seep into, if you will, even the educated black culture.
Yeah. Elaborate on that, man, because I want to, okay, I mean, you're saying that, but in what ways? Give us some practical examples.
Okay, I'll give you some practical example. Okay, let's look at the sport casting. Okay. Every intro song that you hear, what is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on, man. It's hip hop.
It's
right?
hip hop now.
And now I'm not even talking about just black. This white sportcasters, and they going back to like DMX. They using Nas and all this stuff here, right?
I'm surprised you knew those two. I'll give you some props on that. I thought he was gonna say like Kumo D, or I thought he was gonna say Father MC or something like that.
Yeah, he did. Oh my God, no, this dude did. Okay. But so you're starting to see that, right? You're starting to see it more prevalent. Okay, you see the intros to the NBA games, football games. Everything is got this this so-called hip-hop pop culture sound to it and cult, you know what I'm saying, just this aura about it, right? And then you're starting to see even educated black people are starting to kind of adopt this. Well, I don't know if it's an adopting or if it's just taking it along. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Taking it along with them.
So
right?
I'll give you an example. Stuart Scott, right? He passed away from cancer, but Stuart Scott was like one of the first black sports media faces that brought in the language. Hip-hop language,
right. Yeah.
hip-hop culture.
Yeah.
He was like, he brought that into Sports Center.
Yeah.
Like, and that made you like, yeah, that's my dude right there. Anybody who had hip-hop culture influenced them. So he was probably one of the first. So if that's what you're saying, I see with that. But how does that negatively influence?
Not only that, how
community?
Is it because hip-hop has crossed over to that? Because if we go back, everything,
that's what I was going to get to.
Everything was used, like rock and roll was used for everything because that was like the mainstream.
That was the mainstream.
Yeah,
that was the mainstream. And not only that, but early, my understanding, when I talk to the older heads, early hip-hop was very different from what it is today.
Yeah,
definitely.
From the language to the content.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Right? It was very different.
Early
quote unquote hip hop was more conscious. It was more about, what's going on.
Inclusive.
Yeah. More party like too.
Yeah, it was more inclusive.
And then you talking about early. When you talk about that conscious, you talking about real early. It quickly got competitive.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Yeah, hip hop today is more divisive, man.
Yeah.
It's like, you look at like if you look at the cats like Big Daddy Kane and Coogee Rap, a lot of these young cats, they don't even know who these dudes are.
Yeah.
But you look at those dudes, man, like two of the illest, Bismarcky, those cats were ill, man. But when you heard them rhyme, it was like they weren't really talking about I'm gonna blow your brains out and I'm selling, I got mad coke, and I'm selling.
Exactly, yeah.
It was like, listen, man, I'm the illest MC.
And
they talked about themselves. They didn't even they weren't gonna
Skills.
waste they wasn't gonna waste their 3 or 4 minutes on a track talking about some other dude. They talked about themselves because that was their time to shine, But to your point, Kurt, it's like you guys were talking about Stuart Scott. Stu bought that flavor, but a lot of heads were like, at first it was like, oh, you represent, and then they started saying, well, he just pandering for his bosses or whatever. Mm-hmm. But that's who Stu was. That's who he was.
That's right.
That's who he was. You know what I'm saying? But then you start seeing every MC want to be a basketball player. Every basketball player want to be an MC or a DJ. You know what I'm saying? Is that crossing over?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's like they don't, like they couldn't stand each other, but they couldn't stand not to be each other. One wanted to do the other.
Right.
And I'll never forget one time. It was during the All-Star game. This is before. I don't really know if Jay-Z really rocked with Stu Scott like that, but Stu was kind of setting him up, giving him some free airtime. He had just signed a sponsorship deal with Reebok for his shoe. And Stu asked him, he's like, so I see you got them clean sneaks on, man. What you rocking, some Air Jordans there? And Jay looked at him kind of crazy, like, nah, man, don't say that. And he wasn't even picking up. You dummy. I got you on national TV, All-Star game. I'm trying to get you to plug your sneakers and give you free airtime so you could talk about black-owned business, black-owned product.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But at that time, Jay wasn't hip to that.
Yeah.
And a lot of brothers weren't hip to that. There were plenty of opportunities for them to shine like that, but they so caught in that ghetto mentality, man, that street mindset.
Well, the same thing with well, I don't know if it's the same thing. You guys answer if y'all think it's the same thing with the whole Shaquille O'Neal thing. The Shaquille O'Neal, he went and he started promoting Papa John's.
Okay.
And remember, Papa John was the owner or the CEO was fired because he said a slur, the slur word. Okay. And I think they caught him on a telephone call. He said it or something to that nature. So they fired him.
It was a conference.
It was a conference call, right? So they fired him. And they gave Shaquille O'Neal slack because Shaquille O'Neal started promoting Papa John's. And you see the commercials of Shaquille O'Neal. Now, for Shaquille O'Neal's sake, he bought into. He said when they came to him, he said, "Listen, the only way I'm gonna take this deal is if I could buy into ownership. So I need some percentage here." So they was willing to do it. He said, "Also, I need to bring some people of color, some black folk to the board, because I can't be the only black face on this board, and I need ownership from so that whenever you guys franchise, I have a part of it, a part of this franchise, right? But like what we talking about, everybody, the public view was like, oh, he's selling out, and what Shaquille O'Neal saying, bro, I'm changing the culture, bro.
Yeah.
I'm making this into a black business, and I'm bringing black people with me and bringing us to a higher plateau. I put black people on the board, and guess who? And he's like, guess who the next CEOs of my company of Papa John's gonna be? Black people.
So does that speak then to the hip hop or ghetto mentality of just hating on people?
That's it.
Exactly, right?
What is it about?
What is that? Yeah.
What is it that we just?
It's glorified, and it seems like.
Yeah, but it's glorified in the sense that we hate on people who become successful. I'll give you an example, right? When it come to hip hop, if you was underground for any degree, any time, man, people loved you. But as soon as you became commercial, you were, in other words, you crossed over and you met that different demographic of people. I'll give you an example. Black Eyed Peas.
Okay.
They first album, I forgot the name of it, but they dropped it, and underground, they was I was loving that album. But then they threw in Fergie. She was not originally part of that first album they dropped.
Okay.
She was not on that.
Yeah.
But she came on to the group and they blew up.
Right.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
And everybody started hating on her.
There you go, man.
Everybody that was supposedly true hip hop heads
I'm gonna keep it real
from
with
the
you,
hood,
man.
they was hating on her.
I'm gonna keep it real with you, man. They added the swirl to it so that it would sell.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
But my point is
here's
that
the
isn't
problem.
that the goal of people who's trying to make it in the music? They want to shine. They're trying to get to a point where they're trying to be successful.
Especially them, because they were a different type of group.
They were.
They wasn't that. You know what I mean?
And they weren't getting no love on the ground. So when they
Exactly.
they dropped the same album a year later with Fergie in it.
Exactly.
And when they dropped it with Fergie, they blew up.
Yeah.
The same album, bro. I don't understand that. But like you said, they put the swirl in it.
No doubt.
Exactly.
So what the swirl represents to hip hop heads is that you conform. You sold out to the big machine. Not so much to the success, but a lot of those cats
for the money.
Before they get on, they like, man, when I get on, I'm gonna bring this person along with me, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm not gonna change who I am. And then as soon as they get an opportunity to blow up, they're like, hey, we want to add, and I don't care. Fergie, she could be black, white, candy stripe. I don't care. But they see it as, hey, Will, we're going to put this white girl in the group, and that's really going to make it blow. All right, let's do it. So then your underground following sees that, and they're like, okay, this dude unconformed.
He done sold out.
Sold out for the money.
But
now,
there's a hate that comes with that. Like, why do we do that?
Well, back then, that one's a little different because back then, hip hop was underground. So when
this was early 2000s.
It's jealousy,
bro.
man.
Yeah, but it's still
Just call it what it is.
But
They're just jealous.
But it still was a little underground. It still wasn't. It wasn't.
they
Not
were-
by that
right?
time, bro. Yo,
You think it was mainstream by
It
then?
was big mainstream.
You
Yo,
talking about
P. Diddy,
2000s?
Notorious. Yeah, we talking about early 2000s.
Yeah, but it wasn't where it's at now.
What's that?
In the early 2000s, hip hop.
Bro, it was hitting.
It was getting there. It was
that,
getting
bro.
there. It was getting there. It was getting there.
Full
But you still,
crossover today, without a doubt.
yeah, full cross. That's
Full
my point. That's my
crossover
point.
today.
Right
I
now,
get that.
yeah, it's full. Back then,
But,
they still would
Bro,
consider some.
it was still shining, bro.
Yeah,
back
but
then.
you still would consider some artists underground still.
Well, yeah,
back
of course,
then.
yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, you also got to remember you had the absence of social media and the social platforms that we have today.
No. Yeah,
You know
that
what I'm
takes
saying?
into consideration. I'm just
So,
saying.
could you imagine social media back when you had Notorious and
No doubt.
Tupac and
Exactly.
It would be ridiculous,
But even so, it wasn't even.
Ridiculous.
It would have been crazy right now. But and that's how. See, that's the transformation of it because you had it that early. It wasn't even played on the mainstream radio. And then it started. Little bit of artists started getting played on the mainstream radio, and it just evolved from there. And then where we at right now. Yeah. So. But what was your point you was trying to say about the whole hip hop thing? What was you?
coming back.
So my point to this is that when you look at how, all right, well, let's just look at hip hop, right, and look at what it represents, especially today. It's very different from where it started from. We know that. We've already agreed to that.
Yep.
So to where it's at now, and all you see is just it's all degrading
it's crazy.
content,
Ignorance,
right?
man.
It's a bunch to the point where even the verbiage and the language has been dumbed down.
Very
Very dumbed down,
like,
bro.
It's like
no thinking.
the worse your vocabulary and your grammar is. Right. It's like we love him.
Mumble rap.
So you don't have
How
to
many
singing.
budget he wants. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, or he's singing everything.
So what that does
Yeah.
is that paints a picture of the black community
Yes.
as
what you're saying.
overall, this is who we are.
Yep.
See, that's why they treat you this way, because this is what you guys glorify.
Exactly.
You guys worship these guys.
No doubt.
These are your idols. These are the ones you guys look up to. These are the people that, you know what I'm saying, when they do something, y'all want to do it too.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And everybody wants to be like, this individual here. And so you see the degrading of the culture being heavily influenced by, obviously, entertainment and hip hop.
And here's the thing too. It's not like black people could say that white labels are doing this to them or making them do it.
Not now.
There's a black guy that owns BET, man.
Yeah.
BET has some of the most gutter entertainment you've ever seen, man, and it's black owned. You know what I'm saying? Now it was owned by Viacom, I believe, but I believe
that switched over again.
I believe so. I'm not. Don't quote me on that. Okay. However, the footprint that man had on it.
Oh yeah,
it's always been that way.
Oh yeah, it's been.
You feel what I'm saying?
Disgusting.
It's horrible, man. So
we gotta take responsibility for that.
Yeah.
We do.
You're right.
Absolutely.
Because back then you could blame the labels, but now these people are labeling
That's it,
themselves. They
Yep.
got their own label. They got
That's
their own promotion.
Yep.
They're blowing up off YouTube.
No
They
doubt,
don't.
man.
They coming to the label saying, "What you gonna give me?"
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
so
control
because
your,
of social
You got
media.
leverage
Right.
now. Yeah,
Because
they
of
got
social
leverage.
content.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse
Yeah,
for
no.
it.
They just want to follow what. Yeah.
Right.
So it's
So-
no. You're right. No excuse.
So have you guys ever? I'm sure everybody at this table has seen Chris Rock's special "Bring the Pain,"
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you see where he said there's a civil war going on, and the civil war is between black folks
And
and the N words,
yeah.
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And the N words have got to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that was just quote unquote comedy, but that dude
saying
was
so.
that
Yeah,
dude.
he
saying
was
something.
He
speaking.
was
He was speaking.
that was street gospel,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
People do not understand
Yeah.
how much truth was in it, because he said in there that a dude on his block went to college and got his master's degree, and the guy was like, "Well, what, you my master now?" You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It's
exactly.
like
Yeah.
it's
man.
the ignorance, man. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he said, if you, it's sad and it's crazy, but that it's comedy. But he said, if you want to keep something safe from black people, hide it in your books because they don't read. And he didn't say black
Wow.
folks. He said
Wow.
the N words don't read.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if y'all watch that special again, rewatch it, man, because it came out a long time ago.
Yeah.
But as a father of 5 and a grandfather of 2 now, I go back and I look at that, man, and I see how sad it is, and how scary it is too, that there's so much truth in it.
It is, and that's where, again, that's why I'm sharing this, because for me, that when we talked about the word, I took evaluation of who's using the word,
Right.
Yeah.
and
Right.
where they were socially and economically, and I'm like, wait a minute,
Right.
there's a commonality here.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
and to me, it was like, that's not who I want to be.
Right.
Exactly.
And let me say this, like from a music standpoint, right? Because people are influenced by music. When you constantly are bringing into your ear gate this music that on one level you can say, yo, those are dope rhymes, but then content level wise is debauchery, immorality, violence, wickedness, the exploitation of women, the glorification of doing wicked things. When you constantly are putting that into you, that affects your soul. That affects your spirit.
Yes,
I don't care who
yes.
you are. And as one who was once an avid hip hop like lover of the music as a listener, because I didn't do hip hop. I mean, I just listened to it
Right.
And it was what I turned to. It affected my soul. Before becoming a believer, I was an angry dude because it was that time of not just gangster rap, but just that thug rap.
Yeah.
Late 90s,
Yeah.
Mobb Deep, Big Pun, Joe Crack, Big, Jay-Z, where that music was just, that's what it was being pushed.
Yeah.
And in your mind, your psyche, you just start to become angry. And believe it or not, this whole notion of what systemic racism is that's being pushed today, I thought that way. I saw myself as a victim. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, yo, I hate these white dudes that got opportunity, man. I'm born in this hood right here, struggling, and I'm over barely making it, hustling just to try to make, gas money and stuff like that. That was the mentality I had. I was indoctrinated by the music I was listening to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. And what it does is it enslaves the mind. I don't care who you are.
No doubt.
It enslaves the mind.
No doubt.
And it painted this narrative, especially for the black community, that this is all you could hope for.
Right.
Because
Come
either
on.
you become a jester in another man's court, or you was just gonna struggle.
That's it.
And what I mean by that is, y'all know a jester was the Joker.
Yeah.
He was the dude that entertained.
Yep.
And if you look at what's being promoted in the black community is be an entertainer.
Yep.
Either be a basketball player, football player, a singer, maybe in the movies, maybe, and that's being pushed.
Yeah.
But we don't like to. Well, I don't say we don't like to, but for some reason, we're missing out on the conversations of the Booker T. Washingtons, the George Washington Carvers, the Frederick Douglasses, the Cornel West. You know what I'm saying? We're missing out on these guys.
Here's the sad part, okay? The sad part about that is that they push the unattainable so that you overlook the attainable. Okay, so I had a lot of cats in my neighborhood. Man, I told my wife, I buried so many friends from my block that were hustlers, man. I had a homeboy named Chris, man. He lived 2 houses down from me, right? And I used to be out my yard all the time, working in the yard. Pops always had me stretched out, man. And one day Chris rolled by and he stopped the car and he was like, "What's up, D?" And he was like, because I was home from college, He's like, "When you going back to school?" So I was talking to him and he got out of the car and he came over and he was like, "Yo, man," he was like, "Man, I wish I could go to school." Now, this brother's mom was an executive at Kodak. Okay, she had a great job.
Yeah.
But she was raising him and his brother on her own, But she made good money. She was doing good, and we grew up in the city, man. I lived in Norton and Conkey. You know what I'm saying?
You
Near
right
St.
about
Paul.
me. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So, but it was average neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? It's horrible now, but I said, Chris, what you don't understand, man, is that, I know you out here doing your thing, man. I said, but
good.
Yeah, man. I was like, my parents, I can't get financial aid, dog. I said, both my parents work, man. I said, it's just you and your mom and your brother. I was like, you can get all the money in the world to go to school. Nah, man, I can't do that. The very next summer, man, my boy got murdered, man. My man got murdered.
Wow.
He got murdered by a rival drug dealer. This drug dealer came up from New York, man. He was killing everybody around here, all rival drug dealers.
Yeah.
Drowned my boy in his own bathtub, man. Tied his hands behind his back.
Wow.
Drowned him in the tub, man. And I had just a year earlier told him, man, I was like, Chris, you can go to school anywhere, man. You can get money for school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like, it's the street dreams. It's like, back then it was driving Sterlings and Acuras. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And listen, everything you guys said, valid points, great points, but I'm going to have to kick another spin, okay? Because when I heard hip hop, right, and all of it, it was more of our own language, okay? It was like something I could relate to, and I knew only people living that lifestyle that I was living, that I could relate to them. But it wasn't because of the music. I was glad that they were doing the music and they lived the same life that I lived. Okay, you know what I mean? So you got to understand, when you see, I come from when they, from drug dealing grandparents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
doubt.
So
You lived that life.
it was pat. And so it was
Yeah.
different. So like when from my parents being and my uncle being drug dealers, and then my parents started selling drugs, right? And then that's what you see. You see how that's so you already kind of, this is what we know.
No doubt.
But at the same time, they were showing they work too. So they were showing like how to escape the feds. Like you keep a job, that's the cover up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they were showing me
yeah.
that too. Like you keep a 9 to 5.
No doubt.
But we're gonna do this on the side to come up. You know what I mean? And I'm seeing that. So when the rappers came out and that era came out, I could relate to them.
Yeah.
And it felt like it was our own language that we were speaking towards each other. That Jay
Without a doubt.
at that time.
Without
you know what
a
I
doubt.
mean?
But you lived
not
that
as
life.
far as it's influencing me. That's all I'm saying.
You lived that
yeah.
life,
Right.
but a lot of these dudes that was rapping, they
They
didn't live that
did
life.
exactly.
Right.
They didn't live that
And
life.
so
Some
what
of them
they,
did,
they
yeah,
were
yeah.
they
Most
some
of
of
them.
them did, but
Yeah,
they
most of
they
them didn't
viewed
live that
these.
life.
They
No,
viewed,
you knew who did and didn't.
Yeah.
It was easy.
Nah, listen.
It was easy.
They viewed how these dudes lived that life, and they
Yeah.
were able to articulate
Some, yeah.
that story. Because
Exactly.
they grew up in the neighborhood.
They grew up.
knew
Yeah,
what
yeah,
was
yeah. They
going
knew.
on.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
so like I grew up in the neighborhood. I knew what was going on, but my family wasn't
Right.
gangster like that.
Exactly,
So I
exactly.
just a kid that grew up in the hood.
And we know rappers that I rapped with that didn't grow up like
Yeah.
that, but they can articulate and,
Right,
and,
right,
and
right.
spin that up because of being around me or being around, they can relate to the stories now
no doubt.
because they seen it through my life.
I
You
mean,
know
look
what
at
I'm
Ice Cube, man. Cube didn't live that. He didn't live the life that he's
Exactly.
rhyming
Exactly.
about. He'll tell you in a minute.
And
you know
they
what I'm saying?
took it as a trade
Right.
almost. Like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm good at this,
Right.
so I can do this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I'm just saying that spin.
And see,
on it.
with
No, I hear you.
with your situation too, man, it was like, don't take this the wrong way, but what you were exposed to, you were kind of hopelessly locked into that.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
It was what
Wasn't my fault.
it
Yeah,
was-
yeah,
right.
yeah.
It was kind of a survival of the fittest
Yeah.
type of thing.
Yeah.
And with my boy Chris, though, man, he knew he
I got
had
you.
that
Different.
example.
He had a different
He had
example.
a mother that got up,
Mother that worked, hard,
hard, man, and
So-
provided a nice life for him and his brothers. But they chose to do what they did.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
And like I said, I seen both. Cause my dad worked hard.
No question,
No doubt,
right.
he worked. But I did see them flip some birds on the side.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm just being real. You know. What I
So
mean?
this brings me to what I told you guys off air that I had something that I wanted to kind of bring up that I knew would possibly, more than likely, is going to be offensive to some people. Given the racial tension that we're in and everything that's going on, we talked about this thing so many times, the whole Black Lives Matter, right? And we talked about the organization, the movement, so on and so forth, the statement. For us, at least, I believe that the statement is different from the organization. Like
Yeah,
we
correct.
separate
that,
on that,
right? Yeah.
Separate
Correct.
on that. And I wanted to just express my reasoning for taking that stance.
Okay.
My reasoning for taking that stance is the reason why I cannot get behind Black Lives Matter. And it's no secret, because I think there's other people who've expressed this sentiment as well,
No doubt.
is that the truth is the only reason why Black Lives Matter is because all lives matter.
Okay.
Okay?
Explain that.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
The only reason why Black life can matter, in order for that to be true, all lives have to matter.
Right.
Right? But here's the problem. The reason why I can't get behind Black Lives Matter, the organization, is because why doesn't it matter then when it's black on black? Because if Black Lives Matter, then when Pookie shot Ray Ray, where the hell you was?
Yeah.
Where was your protest
Right.
then? Where was all of this aggression and this willingness to be the people's champion?
Right.
And to piggyback off you, and I know some people ain't gonna like this, but I hate this part of hip hop culture when crimes are committed, especially heinous crimes,
The old free
and
culture.
people are there and they witness it. Why won't they talk about it?
Yeah.
Like, thank God you do have people that are on the low. They'll call in, yo, this is what I heard in the streets. What do they call them? Snitches.
Yeah.
Like, that to me, as a believer now who is under the light of Jesus Christ, when an immorality happens to the degree of someone being murdered, rape, that in the inner city community, snitches get stitches.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that we can't have the common decency to look at some pain in the mother's eyes and the sister's eyes, the brother's eyes, and though I saw the drama that may have unfolded, but I can't go out and say something?
No doubt.
That some lives, some criminal murders are not solved because there's not a one person that wants to come forward and testify. So whether you like it or not, I already say that you on my block, you committed a crime, I'm calling the cops on you. I ain't afraid to say it. Because I'm under the blood of Jesus
Gonna
Christ.
snitch on you quick.
Yo, let me understand this. The Bible says, lead a quiet life, mind your own business. And that's how I live my life. You know what I'm saying? I ain't out there Karen out there looking at every little thing trying to see. That's not. But if you on my block and you doing something foolish, yo, you about to get called. The cops will called on you. But that kind of mentality that has come from hip hop culture, bro.
Yeah.
Now we know it's still hood and
That come from the streets. It come from the streets. That's the streets.
But it's exacerbated by hip hop culture.
And listen, in the Spanish, Papi ain't seen nothing. You know that?
Same thing.
I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing.
That's
no comprende.
I don't speak English.
That's my point. BLM, Black Lives Matter, don't talk nothing about that.
Nah. And if you bring it up, they will get upset.
Yeah.
They will turn. They will turn on you.
I heard we was at a vigil. We was at a vigil for Jamma vigil, because he's this guy, this dude. So and there was black person that got murdered.
Yeah,
and it was a brother that came and he was saying what you just said.
Yeah,
he's like, oh, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. But you see, he done got shot from another black man, right?
Yeah.
But all Black Lives Matters, right? Y'all gonna sit here and tell me all black? He's on a speakerphone saying this,
right?
On the megaphone. What is it called, a megaphone or something?
Yeah.
He was like, but all Blacks Matters, right? He said, y'all all cheering and telling me, oh yeah, clapping your hands, but who shot this brother? Y'all know who shot this brother?
Exactly.
He was and I was just quiet, and everybody was quiet.
Yeah,
everybody was quiet.
He was spitting that
game,
he
was.
Because there's a hypocrisy in that, man.
Yeah.
There's a hypocrisy in that. That because I'm like, man. Like Shannon tells Skip this all the time, man. I want you to keep that same level of energy.
Yeah.
That same level of energy that you have when you see the white man is the violent criminal, if you will.
Yeah.
Keep that when it's Pookie against Ray Ray.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because it sets the tone down when
it's all. And in the community, it's like, and then my problem is then they glorify these dudes.
Yeah,
they do, man.
It's glorified.
Hip hop does that.
And then moms be want to act like, oh, he was an angel, or he was giving. Are you serious?
Man, you bringing
this dude was a terrorist, man. He was a terrorist. He was terrorizing the neighborhood. But you gonna pin him off as an angel?
Yeah, man.
Hip hop does that a lot.
Are you serious? And then got the audacity to say, "Rest in peace," man. Listen, man. Listen. I got words for that.
Kirk getting a lot of feathers right now.
Then,
hey, it is what it is, baby.
Or they know that.
Oh, but that's truth speaking. That's all.
No doubt. Or they know the dude who caught 3 bodies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then he gets knocked, and then it's the free little pistol starter T-shirts come out. You know what I'm saying? Little pistol starter ain't hurt nobody.
But deep down, what you just said there is interesting, Dave, because what happens is that when you have this kind of pain going on, revenge is desired, and anger is built up, and you eventually are going to take it out on someone else.
Exactly,
no question.
And sadly, especially with gang culture. I mean, it's so reckless. Like, and we talk about city Rochester being a smaller city, but imagine Chi-Town, imagine Cali, imagine New York City. Like with these larger, like these kids today, and the language,
no value for life.
And this wasn't said on the extended. I mean, in the first episode, as far as what's trending on the streets, 2 cops were just shot, point blank range over in California.
Yeah.
And if you was on Twitter, if you was on any social media, you see black dudes who were right up the street when this happened, and they laughing about the situation.
Yeah, see, come on.
Now, I understand. There's anger against the police, man.
But it's still human life.
That's right.
Exactly. You're talking about human people, man. And that's the issue right now that is being lost across all levels of humanity.
Yeah.
And I think rap music has not helped us.
No.
And what it has glorified, the types of people it glorifies, has not helped the community as a whole. Don't get me wrong. I know not. Listen, there's some good rap out there.
Yeah, some
thank God for
conscious
Christian.
rap. Yeah,
Thank God for conscious rap. There's some Christian hip hop dudes. There's just some good old dudes that are dope MCs. I know, understand that they out there.
And, and positive messages too out there. Yeah.
But what the entertainment aspect that has come in and they're making money off of these dudes, the things they rapping about is just it's ugly. It's
And we
wicked.
go back to the ghetto mindset.
Yes.
The ghetto you know how they say you can take a person out the ghetto, but you
can't
can't take the ghetto out of the person.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's you got to change the mindset of a person, re-educate them. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you got to break down, tear down to rebuild.
Yeah. But they will say that you're selling out.
Exactly.
Now you're not being true to who you are.
Exactly. Just because you have education,
Just because you got or maybe you've turned your craft into something that now brings you good revenue.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's profitable for you.
Yep.
So, but once you get to that point, man, you got to realize, yeah, man, some people corporate industry is not going to pump with you if you come with the ghetto mentality.
No.
They will profit off of your ghetto mentality.
Any business.
Any
business.
They'll profit off
like
of
you said,
you.
corporate.
But when we in the boardroom, bro,
Only if you already made it.
right. You better have stacks behind
Only
you.
if you already made it.
And listen, man, a lot of people get it twisted too. They look at people like, they say, they look at Jay-Z and Beyonce, man. They like, oh, they made it, man. Listen, man. Jay and Beyonce are at the table because somebody allowed them to be.
Yeah.
When you got a person like Jeff Bezos at the table, you know what I'm saying? They paupers at the table. They got to be invited to the table, man.
Exactly.
You got to have that. You got to have that generational money to be calling shots like that.
Yeah.
You
Not
know
only
what I'm
that,
saying?
and then look what Jay tried to give him credit. That what is it, the 411 album?
Mm-hmm.
He's speaking a lot of grown, mature things. Like what he said. He said, "I know something better than making it rain in the club."
No
Good
question.
credit.
No question.
He's right.
No
He's trying to
question.
educate the brothers
He
back.
trying.
You know what I mean? He's trying.
Well, he's fresh on his journey.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. That's what I'm
You feel
saying.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
And-
a lot of brothers will look at him and like, "Oh, Jay made it, man. Look, Jay
and they
is
don't
on
like
a
that
journey."
album. Look at that.
That's what I'm saying.
They look
man.
at the album like that album was trash.
That album
because,
is a classic, brother.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's free knowledge.
That's what he said. I'm
for
trying
y'all
to give you
idiots out there.
What he
it's
said,
free
I'm trying to
knowledge.
give you. He said, I'm trying to give you $1 million worth of knowledge for like what he said, 20 cents, something crazy like that. But I'm butchering it. But anyways, but it goes back to this. Look at Dave, and look at Kurt, then look at me, and look at Lou. Kind of upbringing pretty decent. Dave upbringing pretty decent. Me and Lou, not as decent, right? Why? Fathers in the home.
Yeah. Yo,
Fathers in the home. You see that right there?
Wow.
See how powerful that is when you don't have a father in the home?
Yeah, I feel you, man.
there's a whole. It's funny that you bring that up. And I'll share with you
That's deep,
afterwards. But someone, a Christian rapper named Timothy Brindle, brought that up. Said something greater than so-called systemic racism is fatherlessness in the home.
Mm-hmm.
He caught mad flack because of that.
What?
Yeah,
For
from
spitting the truth.
Christian,
For
from
spitting
black
the
Christian
truth.
rappers.
Yeah. Man, come
Now,
on,
Timothy Brindle's a white dude married to an African woman.
Come on, man.
Christian rapper.
Christian rapper, but he is caught mad flack because
But you
of
know
that.
what,
That
though?
he's written a whole blog on it.
Here's crazy. This is what's crazy, man. If Dave Chappelle or Kevin Hart had said that same thing from a stage,
it would be mad love.
It would be memes all over the place. With that, all
Sad.
over Facebook,
Sad.
Twitter, yeah,
See
man.
that,
But
where
because
we
of
at
white,
now?
We can't tell the truth no more.
Oh,
man.
he don't know nothing. You know,
And that's the thing. It's like
So
it's
sad.
like
Can't
man,
tell the truth no more, right?
Right.
You can't, man, unless you got the right skin color or whatever.
Yeah. Let's
Man,
just
we
be
gotta
real,
stop with
man.
that,
It's so whack, man.
And this is where I'm like, okay, black people, we got to realize this, man, as a people. And I know we run out of time, but we're asking the wrong people to change, in my opinion. In my opinion. My opinion. We're asking the wrong people to change. The people that need to change is us.
no doubt, no question.
See, I was always taught by my parents, if you carry yourself with respect, people will respect you.
You don't have to.
Why? Because that's the demeanor
Right.
from jump.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the standard right there.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I people call me classic. Why? Because you sense that in my demeanor.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Right.
Oh, they call you classic
Got the
because of that.
roots.
Okay, my bad.
We got the roots coming.
Okay, all right, okay,
Roots
get
coming
into
in.
it. Okay, they call him
Find that
classic
out.
because
If
he
I'm
just
not
the
being
man.
truthful, y'all can check me.
Yeah, I hear you. No, that's a great name.
Right?
When you said it, it was a
Hey.
great name. We said it fit you.
Yeah.
Pop that man's collar for me.
Yeah. We did say, yo, that when you said Kirk Classic, we said,
Classic,
oh,
oh,
that's
oh.
perfect.
That's perfect, yeah.
Even though you bit off my barbershop. But let's go, let's keep going.
Whoa. I had that name before your shop. I had that name before your shop.
No, you didn't play yourself. I've been had that
No,
barbershop.
no.
Yeah, I ain't never heard you. I ain't never heard himself call him Kirk Classic until I had my barbershop. But listen, it's okay.
I
It's
told
okay.
you that
Here we go.
when I met you.
Okay, my bad.
You just forgot.
My
All
bad.
right, but anyways,
I give you that. I humble myself. I give him that.
But anyway, if you can't, so that's what I was taught, right? You carry yourself with respect, people respect you, right? So the black community is asking for respect, whatever the case may be, boom, boom, boom. But could it be, and I'm sure it is, the reason why it seems this way is because we're not respecting ourselves, man. Right. So until we come back to respecting ourselves, that's why I said if Black Lives Matter, then it's got to matter at the hands of the white man as well as the hand of Pookie and Ray Ray. It's got to matter, man.
No doubt.
It's got to matter. We got to have respect for each other first.
Yeah.
Then when other people see, man, whoa, you see the way them brothers move? See, because when we move like that, there was respect that was given.
No doubt.
Respect, and then obviously there was some fear because
They roll as a force.
There
now,
was there was a people group that feared black power, black wealth, black, you know what I'm saying, coming up. They it was intimidating.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, you're used to keeping a certain people group down. Now when they rise up, you're afraid that they may turn the tables on you. I get it. That to me is kind of like, you can see that coming. You know what I'm saying? It's to be expected. So we're asking the wrong people to change. We need to change. We need to learn how to respect each other first. That's why, again, if we take it back to the N-word, and why I was so glad that we brought it up, because this brings out so much, that there's so many layers other than just where the name comes from, but you got to look at the culture that surrounds this thing. If we would learn, man, if we really respected each other as a people, we would never use that word.
Right.
Gotta start somewhere.
That right there. That's why I asked you, why don't you guys call each other spicker?
Yeah.
Why? You know what I'm saying? Not just because it don't. You say, well, because that sounds whack. Well, yeah, it only sounds whack now because we have the exactly. It's not. It hasn't been established.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But why haven't y'all community took that word and say, yo, no, we gonna make it ours. We gonna. You know. What was my word? What was my word? We're gonna slurify it.
Slurify it. You want to exacerbate the slurification and the disparities behind it.
So, coming back, man, just we got to do better as a people, man.
So you're saying that it starts with y'all?
Yes, it starts. We got to take accountability.
No
now.
doubt.
It starts with us.
We can't keep playing the victim role and blaming and all this stuff. We got to take ownership, man. We killing ourselves at a more alarming rate than any racist white cop ever.
You know what's sad, man? There's so many races out there, man, that are dying to be us. Like, and I say
that's
that
weird, ain't it?
It is, man.
Yeah,
it's
you're right.
so weird, man. I heard it in a movie, man. It said there is no being on earth that's imitated more than the black man.
That's right.
And it's crazy because if you look at it, man, it's like we as people, man, we bring so much to the table.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
We bring so much to the table, yet we have so little to show for it.
That's right. We have not learned how to capitalize on
We
that.
haven't, man. We haven't.
Capitalize on our gifts, our talents, our callings, man, our craft.
Yep.
Take ownership, man.
No doubt.
But in a positive way where we can build that generational wealth.
No doubt. You know,
Get some of that Trump money.
I look at my grandson, man. Now, my grandson follow me everywhere I go, man. This dude, he loved to play baseball, and I grew up playing baseball, and I'm gonna give him what I got, as far as my baseball knowledge and how I learned how to play the game. But you know what I give my grandson that's more valuable than that? He may go on, God willing, to play for the Yankees one day, and Lord, I hope that happens. But
Dream of a grandfather.
but if it doesn't, you know what I'm giving him, man? I'm giving him traits that both of my grandfathers taught me: how to run electrical, how to fix stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
He on my hip all the time. Every time I'm doing something, he's only 2, but I explain it to him. This is what Papa's doing, and this is why Papa does. And I explained to my granddaughter too, 4, because she likes to do it. That's generational knowledge, man.
That's right.
But you're present.
No doubt.
And that's what key right there.
No
See,
doubt.
Jesus,
Back to what we were saying.
That's worth something.
Yeah,
That's valuable.
The
doubt.
Apostle Paul says something interesting. He says, listen, you got many teachers, but you don't have many fathers.
Right.
And the reality is that's a statement that is true today, not only of black community. This is true of Hispanics and whites.
Yeah, yeah.
And the fatherlessness of America today has affected this nation.
Yes.
And it has affected the inner city black community without a doubt, but it's affected this nation as a whole. So that's a whole nother topic there.
That we're gonna hit you next time with.
So
Father,
this has been extended thought with Kirk Classic only because he went in. Oh my bad.
Word up. Off the Kirk Classic off the rails.
No, but yo, I'm glad Kurt brought this up, man, and yo, thanks for coming hard on it, man, because hopefully anybody listening to this, if you offended, man, do some introspect. Look at yourself.
Right.
And if we wrong, if you feel like, man, we in error, reach out to us. theologyinthestreets@gmail.com, or you can comment in the YouTube section. We could chop it up there. Comment section. But listen, this has been Theology in the Streets podcast, extended thought. Listen, Tats Nation, keep riding. Tats School gonna keep driving. We out.
See ya.
Peace.